is how do democracies respond to those scandals.
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. My apologies.
What will this mean for the region?
My apologies. North Korea, South Korea.
Hello guys, welcome back to TFD. Oh boy, buckle up because this one right here is absolutely wild. We're talking about Project B, the so-called not Saudi-funded but somehow Saudi-connected league that's got everyone confused, frustrated, and honestly, a little suspicious. You ever have one of those stories where the deeper you look, the more things just don't add up? Yeah, this is one of those moments. So here's the deal. When this whole Project B thing first hit the news, it was loud and clear that the Saudi Public Investment Fund was one of the financial backers. That wasn't speculation. It was reported, published, and confirmed. Now, fast forward a few months, and suddenly the founders and investors are singing a very different tune. No, we're not taking Saudi money. Actually, we're the ones giving them money. Excuse me? Giving them money? Since when did that become a better look? The math just doesn't math, folks. And what makes this even more interesting, or rather messy, is the timing. The WNBA Players Union president herself just inked a massive deal reportedly worth around $2 million to join this mysterious Project B. And let's be real, when you're a former MVP, that number is probably a lot higher than what's being publicly stated. But here's where the real issue lies: the hypocrisy and the silence. Where are all the woke athletes who used to be loud about every social issue under the sun? Because right now, everyone seems awfully quiet about taking money or giving money to a group with Saudi ties. And look, this isn't me taking a political side, this is about consistency. The WNBA has spent the last decade branding itself as the face of progressive sports activism. Every season, every press conference, every social media post, it's been activism front and center. But now that there's a big payday involved, all of a sudden everyone's moral compass seems a little flexible. The same players who called out injustice in America are now partnering, directly or indirectly, with one of the world's most criticized governments for human rights violations. It's not a good look, and fans aren't buying it. Now, here's where things really start to unravel. Project B co-founder Grady Burnett has reportedly been caught lying about the funding sources. Think about that. The league hasn't even started playing games yet, and there's already controversy about where the money's coming from. That's not a great sign. Transparency, out the window. Credibility, hanging by a thread. And let's not forget the players who are knee-deep in this mess. Nneka Ogwumike, Breonna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, and Kelsey Plum. All of them have either signed with or invested in Project B. And here's the kicker. Every single one of them has an active role in the WNBA, either as players or union reps. That, my friends, is a massive conflict of interest. You can't negotiate the WNBA's future while simultaneously investing in its biggest potential competitor. You just can't. So yeah, Project B might claim it's not Saudi funded, but the receipts say otherwise. The silence from the players is deafening, the contradictions are piling up, and the credibility of this entire operation is taking hit after hit. The situation is heating up fast, and if the WNBA and its stars don't handle this carefully, it could backfire big time. Stay tuned because this story is far from over.
Now let's take a look at this here. Shout out to Andy Costabile. Project B announced signing of Nneka Ogwumike. Questions were raised regarding the funding. How y'all getting all this dough? How y'all getting all this fetty? Where all this bread coming from? While Project B denies it is backed in any way by Saudi Arabia, there is a connection. Saila, a subsidiary of the Saudi PIF, is a league event partner. This guy right here, Grady Burnett, has been straight up twisting the story about the funding. Like, hold up, this man's a former Facebook exec too? Oh, we definitely got to talk about this one. This whole situation is crazy, man. Absolutely wild. The startup's co-founder tells FOS that its fundraising doesn't include any dollars from Saudi Arabia. The league has a Saudi event partner. Who you think you talking to, Grady? For real, who you think you talking to? Not me, bro. Nah, y'all must not know that ludicrous energy. Y'all don't know that one.
Now, let's take a look at this here. Last February, the Financial Times reported that the effort was backed in part by Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. That was last February. Then, in October, Front Office Sports broke the news of the league's temporary name and revealed the list of athlete investors. Steve Young is involved here. Alana Beard, Candace Parker, Novak Djokovic, and Maverick Carter were also part of it initially, but Carter dropped out this week when the WNBA president got involved. And honestly, I still think this is a joke. It's ridiculous that this is happening, that this person is being allowed to negotiate contracts involving another league. It's just wild. They wonder why they haven't turned a profit in 27 years. Well, there's example number one and everything else I just mentioned. It's just not taken seriously as a professional league by so many people, and there's a laundry list of reasons why. Nneka Ogwumike was the first player to sign with Project B. The news came as a surprise to many in and around the WNBA and raised questions about the league's Saudi backing. Project B's co-founder Grady Burnett, a former Facebook executive, insists Saudi Arabia is not a financial backer. Quote, "We're a global basketball league, so we want a globally diversified cap table around us." Burnett told Front Office Sports that this does not include any dollars from Saudi Arabia. While Burnett denies Project B is funded in any way by Saudi money, even in the form of promised investments if the league meets certain thresholds, there is still a connection. SELA, a subsidiary of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, is an event partner of the league. Let's be clear, SELA is an entertainment and hospitality company that specializes in experiences, events, and destinations, and it was founded in Saudi Arabia. SELA is owned by the Public Investment Fund, the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia. So, one way or another, however you look at it, they are involved with Saudi Arabia. Now, Burnett says, "We have partnerships with a lot of companies from around the world. SELA is one event partner that we pay money to. We do not have any dollars coming from them." So you're paying them money? That's hilarious. It's a wholly owned subsidiary based in London that runs tons of events globally, and now they're trying their best to talk their way out of this. One league source shared the opinion that it could limit the social impact players have. Multiple WNBA sources question what would mean for players aligning in any way with Saudi Arabia. Since its inception, the WNBA has been considered an activist league. Even Front Office Sports admits this, calling it an activist basketball league. Throughout its nearly 2 decades-long history, WNBA players, executives, and coaches have used their platform to advocate for social justice issues ranging from every possible cause that, ironically, has also contributed to the league never turning a profit. My God, a laundry list of things right there. Back in 2020, they dedicated the whole season to Breonna Taylor. She was shot and killed by police in Louisville, Kentucky. So now people are basically saying, wait a second, you guys have been doing this for years, being activists, standing up for women's rights, calling things out, pushing for women's equality, and all that. But now you're showing the complete opposite. That's what people are saying. The question is, are you really fighting for women's rights and equality? Or are you just chasing the money? That's exactly what they're asking. This is the same league that united players to help elect Raphael Warnock to the U.S. Senate in response to his opponent, Kelly Loeffler, who was then co-owner of the Atlanta Dream, calling for the WNBA to drop its support of the Black Lives Matter movement. Less than a year later, the Dream was sold to a new ownership group. Now, Project B has declined to share how much capital the league has raised. According to a Bloomberg report earlier this year, the league initially sought to raise $5 billion. That's a huge goal, and the list of investors includes several big names. At the end of the day, Project B plans to debut with 6 teams, made up of 11 players each, who will compete in its 7-week tournament across Asia, Europe, and Latin America. The league also says it will launch a men's tournament in the fall, running alongside the women's version.
When asked whether the league has signed any players for the men's side, Burnett declined to answer.
Guys, this is absolutely hilarious. And by hilarious, I mean suspicious beyond belief. All this information about Project B being Saudi-funded has been out there for months, plain as day. The Financial Times even broke the story ages ago. So why are the founders only now scrambling to set the record straight? Why didn't they speak up back then when the headlines first hit? Oh, that's right, because now a high-profile player has officially signed with them, and now the spotlight's too bright to hide. Now they're in full-on damage control mode, trying to put out a fire that's already burned down half the forest. Let's be real, this timing is way too convenient. It's not a coincidence. They're nervous because people are starting to ask real questions, and the players involved are getting called out. And yes, fans and media are absolutely going to call these players hypocrites. You can't spend years preaching about activism in social justice, then turn around and do business with a company that's tied to the Saudi sovereign fund. No matter how you spin it, the money's coming from the same place. And let's talk about Grady Burnett, the co-founder of Project B, who's now out here denying any Saudi involvement. Come on, man, you expect us to believe that? The dots connect too perfectly. You can dress it up, reword it, call it indirect funding, but we all know what's going on here. At this point, I'm calling it what it is: shady, messy, and deeply questionable. This dude is flat out lying about who's backing this league, and it changes everything. Get down in the comments, what do you think? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.